All right, welcome back to Inside the Box podcast. Here we have a new guest, Tracy Dow, with local business owner with the Springfield Running Center. Thanks for joining us today, Tracy.
Thank you very much for having me. You can't see that I'm smiling behind the mask.
Yes, the weird times that we are in here. So, Tracy, why don't you go ahead, introduce yourself and just give us a little bit of background.
All right. Well, as you said, I'm Tracy, and I'm with the Springfield Running Center. I've been there for about 11 years. I think I'm on my 12th year now.
Wow.
The store has been around for almost 42 years.
Oh,
So
okay.
41 years.
I had no idea. Wow.
Yeah, it'll in March of 2021, it'll be 42 years.
So did you purchase it from somebody else?
I started working there part-time, like I said, 11 years ago. I was a stay-at-home mom for several years. And
Tough job, though. Tough job.
Very tough job. Hardest job in the world.
Yeah.
Harder than what I do now. And I was probably one of the running center's best customers. I was a runner. I competed. I was a member of the Springfield Road Runners Club. And I loved going in there and looking around and shopping. And I'm a shoe, what's it called? A shoeaholic or... So I have more shoes in my closet.
What do they call them now? Sneakerheads or something?
Exactly. And it's, I've always liked fun shoes, high heels, everyday shoes, but running shoes, obviously, if you have a passion for it, my closet is filled with running shoes for sure. But I was one of their best customers, I know, and I walked in and I was just chatting and said, man, that would be fun to get to wear running shoes to work, and
a little
Matt,
more casual.
Yeah, Matt, actually, he said, well, we're looking for somebody, and he hired me part-time, and that just kind of grew over time. And after about 4 years, I bought into the company, and
Nice.
then about 5 years later, bought more of the company, and
wow.
So
well, that's cool.
That's
I
how
had
it
the
happened.
opportunity to how long had he owned it? Do you know before you?
I don't know before, but he's actually it's gone through several owners since 1979. And I think he had it maybe 15 years
Wow.
or so.
One thing I forgot that I usually do at the beginning, I'll ask you this question and then we'll save it to answer for the end. But the hardest part of being a business owner. So we can keep that in the back of your head, and when we get to the end here, I'll have. Sometimes I forget, so I might have to have Ryan over here remind me.
Okay.
we'll come back to it at the end. I
I'll
like
think
to kind of
about
save
that
Yeah.
on the way.
Well, that's exciting. It's nice. It's kind of neat to know that, like, as just an employee, you had that opportunity. At some point to become more than just an employee, and partner with them and everything. That's crazy. I had no idea it'd been around that long.
A lot of people don't know, and it is a nice little hidden gem, which is not necessarily the best thing as a business owner,
Right.
but...
Why don't you tell everybody where it's located at, just in case they don't know?
Right. We are 2943 West White Oaks Drive, which is right behind the new Harvest Market, and Kohl's, which is right off of Veterans.
Yeah,
And we're
so
in a
those,
strip mall
yeah,
back
those
there.
two little strip malls back there. Trying to think of what else is back there. The Gold Center just moved there.
The
Jane
book
Hay.
rack. The book rack. We're right next to the book rack.
Okay, yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, so right there behind the new Harvest Market. 42 years, wow. So, and one more time, how long have you owned it now?
I have been an owner for over 6 years. No, going on my 7th year.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess one of the easy, quick questions here that I definitely would love to hear about is how have you been dealing with this COVID situation, and how has business been like?
Right. Well, at first, when everything happened and kind of crashed in on us in March, I have thought about this a lot. I have a friend that is in. He dabbles in a lot, but he's the director of the Sangamon CEO program, and he's a customer and he's a friend of mine. And I just called him and said, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't have an online. I had an online website, but we couldn't do e-commerce. We couldn't sell online.
Yeah.
And I had been toying around with that. We'd been playing around with it for years, but I hadn't jumped, I hadn't taken that step off the diving board yet. And so what we did was we built a website for e-commerce in 6 days, and we were on. And we pivoted very quickly.
Awesome.
And he helped me, to do that, set it up. And then I had a couple people working with me. And of course, we did shut down for a very short time, but our employees stayed at home. We were able to get the PPP.
Perfect.
Aid there. And I had a few, there were 2 to 3 of us at any time that worked in the store, and we shortened our hours, and we would go in and I worked a lot from home, and we built a website and spent months putting every product that we have on the website.
It's a process. And then keeping it up to date.
Keeping it up to date. I've got some really good employees that are great at that and
awesome.
That have helped. And of course, so in that time, our workforce is less. So we had about 11 employees then, and now we have, I think maybe 6, 5 to 6, and one full time besides me, myself, and so things look different. We're doing okay.
Yeah. How have you found? Have you found that your customers are still kind of willing to jump online, shop, and support you there?
I'll tell you, we have the best loyal, supportive customers. We have friends. They're our family.
Yeah.
They come in and they have really rallied and help us out. But I can't say enough great things about our loyal customers, and they know who they are. We just had Small Business Saturday, and it's sort of been like a whole weekend. And I see those old familiar faces. We are a running community, and that's who has come together for us. And our running community is our family, and they oftentimes would come. We'd have group runs. We would have events from the store, and we loved opening our doors and having, 50 people, 75 people, 100 people show up for these things throughout the day. And that just can't happen now.
That's
so
tough.
They've spread it out, and of course go online and have really been there for us. But I'll tell you, one of the great things is people have gotten out and about, and they're walking. So this pandemic took people outside. Yeah. The spring we saw when things opened in June, all kinds of walkers and runners.
I know, I know it's like impossible to get a bicycle.
Right, exactly.
I was like, really? You can't get it? Like one of my team members here, he's like, I got a bike on order. I'm like, you can't just buy it? He's like, no, they're sold out everywhere. I was like, wow, that is crazy. But it's like good to hear. Like, people getting exercise.
It's good to hear. And the good thing for us was people needed shoes. They people who had never been a walker or a runner started. So they came in for advice, and we're not the big box store.
Right.
And I'll tell you a little bit about how we differentiate ourselves from the others. We give one-on-one attention to our customers.
Yeah.
We are it's all about customer service.
And that's what you have to do. I mean, to compete with, because you can't always sell probably for the cheapest price, but if you provide that level of service and knowledge,
I
could definitely see that.
So we do fit. Like if you come into the store, we talk to you, we listen to what's going on, and say at that time you were a new walker or a new runner, the first thing that you want to do is get into a good shoe. Mm-hmm. And if you're having any trouble, a lot of times what people will do is they'll go, get their shoe, and they start walking and they start feeling pain. They realize they're in the wrong type of shoe. Yeah,
I don't think people realize, and I never realized. I started following this YouTuber who just is a video guy, does videos and stuff, but he's huge into running, so he'll just include that in his little vlogs and stuff. But he would talk about he would just randomly mention how important the shoes were that he had, and like how fast he went through them, because he would run miles and miles a day.
Right.
And I was like, man, I had no idea.
Right. And that's it. Most people think, or not most, but a lot of people think that I get a pair of shoes and it should last me a whole year, or it should last me 2 years. And I've been walking in these for 2 years, and now my arch hurts or my heel hurts. And I say, well, a great running shoe, a good running shoe that's technical, meant for running, that's what most physicians will tell you to wear for walking as well. So if you're walking or running in those same shoes for a year or over 6 months, but you're doing it every day, they're broken down. Mm-hmm. And so they should only last about 400 to 500 miles.
Okay.
And when we always educate people and say, by the time you look at the bottom tread of your shoe, if it's worn down and slick, you've already lost all that midsole cushioning. And so that's why your knees, all of a sudden you start feeling the pain in your feet, your ankles, your knees, your hips, your back. Yeah. It just travels up.
I know my wife, she's a hairstylist. Mm-hmm. So she's on her feet all day. And I'm like, you got to spend the money on some good shoes, because she'll get, back pain and all this stuff. And I'm like, I'm telling you, shoes are so important.
Right.
So I kind of relayed that to her, but
yeah, we do a lot of everyday wear and the workforce. So I have a lot of hairstylists, restaurant.
So you have more than medical, just running shoes,
right? Okay. So it is a running shoe store as far as technical, but I'd say half of our business anymore is doctor referral, PT referral, chiropractors, personal trainers, and they send you in. And also, I have a lot of hospital, first responders coming in because they're on their feet all day. They're on a 12-hour shift at the hospital, and they're on tile or concrete, and they need a good shoe. Mm-hmm. And so we do a lot of that as well.
That's awesome. Mm-hmm. Now, what are some of the, I assume you carry several other things besides just shoes,
yes.
Running clothes or?
We do. We have orthotics. So again, in a doctor referral capacity, a lot of physicians will just recommend that you come in and get your orthotics with us. And we have several different brands. And I actually brought a few
let's check it out.
A few products that we do carry. This is the Curex. This is one brand. We probably have 6 or 7 different brands. Okay. We even have a machine that you can get on, and it's with Aetrex, and you can stand on.
I've seen those before.
Well, you're right.
Like analyzes your bottom
of
your foot.
It'll do a gait analysis of the way you're standing and the way your foot shape. It gives so many. There's 18 little cameras around, and it gives so many measurements of your arch, your the length of your foot, the width.
That's not. Yeah. Nobody's getting that when they're shopping online.
Exactly, exactly. And so it will tell you which orthotics are better for your feet. We don't just use it for that. We use it to tell people what size shoe exactly. But that's the Curex. That's just one brand that we actually.
They look pretty cool too. I like
they're great. And
it's so like a city map type of.
Yeah,
that's cool.
And what that does for you is it relieves pressure points, and it supports in the areas that you need it, and it totally can change the way that you're moving when you're walking and running. And so most physicians will just say, "Hey, that's the best thing to do is go get an over-the-counter." Go into the Springfield Running Center, and they will fit you for them. So we fit people for them.
Yeah.
And
I know I've a lot of times when I get shoes, and especially if I'm getting cheap shoes, I will turn around and get some sort of insole. But yeah, trying to pick out like, which one's right. There's always a big selection. So that's awesome to know that you guys have, that type of setup over there to where you could help people pick these out and pick the right thing out here.
Yeah.
That's pretty neat. I don't know if people watching on the video, you could see the kind of cool city pattern on there. And then the logo, I'm big into design. You know what
exactly.
I mean? So the logo kind of looks like a path maybe that somebody was running through the city. That's kind of neat there.
Right.
Yeah, that's cool.
Right. That's a great product that we carry Power Step, Curex, Sol, all different brands, Aetrex, Superfeet. So we do carry orthotics. We have we also have walking shoes that are like the leather walkers. Anymore, we just put people in a running shoe because that is it's the lightest. So, and I can show you a couple of shoes and tell you kind of the difference as well. But when we fit someone for shoes, we take a look at your arches to see if you are flat-footed, if you have a high arch, if you overpronate by rolling in, if you're supinating, rolling out. And when we do that, it gives us a general idea of what type of shoe you need. And then we bring out how many ever you want to try on. And we try to bring out different brands for you. And one of the things that that we do is let you walk around in them. You can get on the treadmill and tell us what you think. Because the idea is you want to put on a shoe and you want it to feel good from the get-go.
Yeah. So you have a treadmill there people can walk on for a minute and test them.
We do.
Nice.
You can get on and run. You can get on it and go for a walk, if you're walking. But
and these, I guess I've never really thought about it, but yeah, well, I guess I have actually, and not thought about me thinking about it, if that makes sense. But like ordering shoes online, I'm like, what do I get here? Do I get a 10.5? Do I get an 11? How do these fit? So it is definitely in person. I see that that's something that is almost somewhat online proof a little bit, if people can, because people should, I think, would want a preference of coming in and trying that on like you're talking about, especially for running.
Yes, and especially for running, but also just for standing in all day. Because, where I said I have a whole collection of shoes, if it doesn't feel good to me, if I have my shoes that I say, I can work in these for 8 hours because it's a concrete floor underneath, the tile and the carpet where we are. And if I can't wear it for 8 hours, I'm done. Yeah. I tell people, I want to feel like I can put on a pair of shoes and just forget that I have them on. You don't want to think, oh man, this is, I can't wait to get home and take these off. And then the last thing you want, and I've been there, is to have a shoe on in the middle of a long run or walk and think, I'm getting a blister or
definitely or a long race.
Really, and I've been there, but and I'm going to throw the shoe as soon as I get finished. I've been on a run before where I take the shoe off and I'm walking in barefoot. So it's so important. And people think that sometimes you can just order the same, it's a Brooks, so I got it online. Well, it's not the same Brooks that you had before.
Right. And
so there are stability shoes.
No.
There are neutral shoes. So if I just set these here, would you be able to tell me the difference in them, from just sitting there? Yeah. Probably not, but they're two completely different feels. They're two completely different types of shoes. And they're just because they're different brands. I mean, I could even put the same brand there. But unless you know the difference, you don't know. And so if you went into also like a big box store where nobody's helping you, you don't know.
Right.
And unless the people are educated and trained professionally, you don't know. So like this shoe happens to have guidance rails. And this is for someone who's flatter footed and they overpronate when they move, so they're rolling in. This shoe is the new Asics Nimbus. This is the Brooks Transcend. This is the Asics Nimbus. Brand new, just came out, and I'm wearing it today. I love this thing. I've run in it, and it's been the best thing that's walked in our door lately, where everybody is just hands down, oh my gosh, that feels amazing.
Nice.
This is a neutral shoe. So this is for someone with a higher arch, or someone that tends to roll to the outside, or is very neutral and kind of goes down the middle of the shoe instead of, if they didn't have any support, they would wear out the inside. And this shoe is great for something like that orthotic. So I pop out this liner, and like you say, this is a very good quality shoe, but the liners are just
more basic.
Yeah, they're just a basic liner where when you
actually swap the liner out.
I do, and then I put.
Is that what you're supposed to do? Take out the original liner always, or add? I know before I've added on top of it.
Yeah.
I'm like,
well, So I recommend that you take out that liner because it starts adding too much volume to your shoe, and then pretty soon your heel's slipping out if you just put something on top of it. Now, if your doctor says you need to do that, then you do it. But I have little tricks that when people come in, they have these orthotics and they've been doing things for years, and they go really big, they go extra big on their shoes so they can get all their layers of stuff that they have to put in there. And I said, you don't have to do that. And so I teach them little tricks, and we'll even cut the liner and do some surgery. And so we kind of make it like a custom shoe by the time they're walking out of there, for sure.
So you're definitely, I had no idea that there were so many different things with the shoes. How has, since you've really been into this, how has technology in shoes changed? Has it always been this in depth? You know what I mean? I know definitely haven't always had that machine that you're talking about where it literally analyzes your stance.
Right.
How long has something like that even been around, would you say?
There's been scanners ever since I've been there. I know they're way before me. The thing, when I started 11 years ago, we had this pad, and I know that my coworkers that were around for that dealt with it, and you rolled this pad out, and you had to have it plugged into your old, the computer, like mainframe type computer, and you had to walk across the pad, and you had to get several steps with your right foot, then you had to turn around and get several steps with your left foot, and half the people weren't even coordinated enough to get it on the right step, and it was kind of funky, but it would give you pressure points.
Okay.
And so that was kind of cool, and we would take it to expos and have just a line around the corner for people to do this. Now we've got this machine. I cannot take this scanner with me. It's super heavy. And but we have a machine now. There's every company out there's kind of got one. They're not cheap. You want to buy one, it's $5,000.
Yeah.
It's the technology. They send us updates on it all the time. So it's expensive. Running shoe technology, people say, why would I spend $120? That's about an average good technical running shoe. But then you get up there, and anymore, they're $130, $150, $160, $170. I even brought the fancy ones that they're using in the marathon, that your elite runners are wearing with the carbon plate and
what are those
the glass fiber. These are, it depends. So like the Nike, if you've got like the Alpha Fly, you can spend $250.
Wow, is that like
$260,
one of the most expensive?
It is.
You have something here
for a pair of shoes, and it's hard for the average runner to even fathom this. But the thing is, their lifespan is a lot shorter, so you can't think that you're going to get 500 miles out of it.
Right. But I think I'm trying to think of, there's something else that's kind of like that though that I've seen before, where it's like even though it's more expensive and everything, the lifespan's shorter, but it's providing you like a higher quality over that shorter lifespan, right?
Well, the world record was set recently by Nike, by a runner. This is not that shoe. This is a version of it. This is the Zoom Fly 3. So this has a full carbon plate in it, and the idea is to spend less time on the shoe, less time with ground contact, and to roll you forward. Okay. So I like to relate it to almost like a blade. You can take this out, but almost like, those the blade where they run on blades with a prosthetic. And how that springs. That's what this plate is doing.
I know what you're talking about. Like the people that have like lost a
limb. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Interesting.
And so you don't really know, and it feels super light, but it's very responsive. So the idea is to get you springing forward and to get you less ground contact and get you to the finish line quicker.
Looks aerodynamic.
It is. And so when you ask about technology, they get more and more. The lighter, and that's what's funny, the lighter the shoe is, it's like there's nothing to it. It's air. And why is it $150, $180, $200?
That's pretty cool.
So that one is $160 retail.
Okay.
But so that has a plate in it. And then this is...
Cool.
This is actually my shoe of choice. I love this one. This is the Carbon X, so it's the same. This is by Hoka, which was, I don't know if you've heard of Hoka, and people mispronounce it all the time. It's kind of funny. this is the number one search for shoe in our website.
Oh, nice.
And it looks like it would just be super heavy. It weighs so little, and that has a full carbon plate in it, and it's very similar.
That's crazy.
And I like it because it's got a little bit wider of a base, and so it lets my foot splay out, and a lot of ground, like it just keeps me stable, but also
that is so light.
Can you believe how light that is?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Compared to that, which is more of a traditional trainer. And I do a lot of training runs in that, and I ran a marathon in that, and I love it. So I can run in that and not have a lot of wear and tear feeling on my legs. And
so it's called Hoka?
That's Hoka. That's Hoka. It's a company that's been around for about a decade, and which is new. That's fairly new, and they have really
disrupting things.
Oh my gosh, they've disrupted things, and it's in a very good way.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
How light that is. That's neat.
It really is. And so that's what I'm saying. To be lighter and faster, you pay for it.
Yeah.
You pay for that.
So how did you get into running? How long have you really been into it? And
I was in junior high when I started.
Okay.
And
on track or something?
I did, and I'll give a little shout out to my 7th grade economics teacher. I was a softball player, and I played softball all through, from kindergarten on. And I had a 7th grade teacher who said he would give me extra credit just for fun, and I was a go-getter, and I'll give you extra credit if you go out for track. And he was recruiting people that way.
That's
and
hilarious.
I bit, and I did it, and I loved it, and found success at that in junior high and high school. And then I got talked into cross country, which I did not like. I was not a long-distance runner, right? Yeah. And but I ran that, and I loved my coaches, found that I really respected what that taught me in life as far as self-discipline.
Yeah.
And, when things get hard, you got to dig down. And that,
what a perfect example of that, though, in like a race, what
exactly.
I mean? You get tired
exactly.
and to finish, know.
It's so easy. Running, it's so easy to talk yourself out of something.
It's
so
for sure.
easy to
It's actually funny because I like it. People that love running, they love it. You know what I mean? I just can't understand from my standpoint. Like a run is nice to me because it's like an exercise. You know what I mean? But it's like while I'm doing it, I'm not like I love this so much.
Yeah, this is the best ever.
But I think it's also because I don't do it a lot.
Yeah.
Like I think if I did it enough to where it got to the point where it was easy and I wasn't just completely exhausted, can't breathe. I feel like I could see getting to a point where it was more enjoyable for me,
Yeah. I think that it is like that. You have to get over that little hump and kind of make it a habit.
I think a lot of stuff's like that.
Yeah.
Though, really. Now
because you'll go through pain. You've got your pain. You've got your tired. You've got all that. But once you can get through that and start getting to the point to where, that day wasn't so bad because
you gotta want it.
And you've created a base that doesn't hurt. It's not killing your knees. It's not killing your legs. You're not your chest isn't on fire. And once you can get through that. And I became a coach. I knew at a young age that I wanted to coach, and so I became a coach at Glenwood Middle School and I started by helping to coach run at the track, which was an in-between seasonal type.
Was this why you were stay-at-home mom?
This is when I was a stay-at-home mom. And so we would meet and get the junior high kids, the middle school, and then kind of word of mouth, people started coming from all over and different schools and coming and doing the morning workouts to get through the off seasons.
Oh, okay.
And then we started, we had families, and so it became a big kind of social running type thing. And then we had a lot of success with that, so we went into coaching the middle school. And I did that for about 6 years in track and cross country. And my kids were in the programs at that time, so that was nice. And then I moved up to the high school for about 4 years at Glenwood.
Okay.
And in doing that, loved it. To me, that's the most perfect job ever. I love coaching, and I would go back to that in a heartbeat, but I can't do that and run the store at the same time too.
To do multiple things like that. Yeah, I know. Would you say like the working with the kids and kind of the rewards you get from that is where to
absolutely love it. I love to see someone excel, and we had wonderful success with our teams with state and lots of trophies and greatness. But I have to say, it is so fun when you get someone who's, I'm a basketball player and I'm only out here because I'm having to cross train and stay in shape for this or that. And they wind up loving it, and they do it for 8 years. They do it for 4 years or 3 years in junior high, and then 4 years of high school, and they wind up loving what they do, and it's a family kind of. The kids become family, and when you see them improve and realize that it changes them, it changes their. What they believe about themselves and
what they can do.
Oh, yeah. And that's worth it. Yeah.
I know I've thought about like, man, I wish I had the time to just go like teach the stuff that I know. It'd be so cool, so I think I haven't done it really, but I get where you're coming from on that. I think it'd be so neat to like try to instill the knowledge I have in creating and graphic design and video and like teaching kids that stuff. So I could totally see where you're coming from.
Well, you'd be great at it. If it's your passion, and I love running, so I am one of those weirdos that I love it. Now I have a love-hate. There's times that I think this is stupid and I'm not doing it anymore. Yeah. But I always come back to it. And I'm competitive, and I'm very competitive, and I'm hard on myself, and I like that aspect. But there's, to me, the pure joy in watching someone have a goal and work for it, and work hard, and not, maybe at times not believe they can do it, but then have it turn around, and just watching their faces in that middle school, high school age
when they
for
reach
me,
it or do
oh my gosh, it's amazing.
And it's crazy because it's a good thing. Like that's something great for kids, because you should have that throughout your life with everything. Like you should set goals that are hard to achieve and work to achieve those. And the feeling you get from that, and it's kind of even with me with just creating in general. Like whenever I like work and create something and then I put it out there for people to see, or I get done with it, it's just such a rewarding feeling. You know what I mean? So that's a good thing to instill with running, at a young age like that. I think I
will share a little story about our, it was in 2008. We had a boys, so I'm at the middle school, and there was a team of 5 coaches, and we had probably 100 kids go out. And this was our year. We thought, we're going to go to state. Glenwood's a strong running program. We're going to go to state, but we're going to win. We're going to win boys and girls. And this is going to be, totally cool. And they worked hard. We had a great group of boys, great group of girls. But when we made them write their goals down, we would give them their sheet of paper, and they had to write down their goals, and this is what they're going to do. We put together a PowerPoint, and we had a meeting with these kids. And they had seen these, they had raced against these other towns, Parkside and, Bloomington, and they knew these kids. They knew how they could run. They knew where they belonged. A lot of times people think that they belong in a certain place in their life. I belong, like you and I run together. So you're always going to beat me. I always belong behind you.
I see what you're
saying. If I beat you today, I'm out of something. I'm
definitely not beating her,
out of what. But kids think that.
Yeah.
And they get it in their mind, and we all do. We put ourselves in this box.
Yeah.
Out of the box.
For sure.
When you can start thinking out of the box, when you can start seeing that there's something else.
I know in high school, I played basketball in high school. And I know I could have been much better if I had more confidence in myself. And I realize that now looking back, you know, and it's kind of what you're saying. I kind of put myself in that box. Like, I know I'm not as good as these people or whatever. But I know I could have been if I really wanted to and worked hard. And I don't know. I feel like I didn't have bad coaches. So I don't know if it was just me doing it to myself or maybe I wasn't taking them seriously when they were pushing me hard. It's kind of hard to know like where I failed at that back then, thinking back. But I know that was a big thing, just the confidence and like getting out there, and you know what I mean. Just
I do. I think as a coach, it was our job, and I loved working with the boys too. But I have a special bond a lot with the girls that I worked with, and I would run with them. And I would talk to them. And boy, those were fun, especially in high school. Boy, I got all kinds of we would run in the mornings and I'd run with the girls, and I got all kinds of great stories, you know, that they would tell me. And I think, wow, that's changed from when I was in school. Huh. And, you know, and
getting in on the gossip.
He's going to ask me to homecoming, and he's going to,
I bet it's a lot different now.
Oh my gosh. So
with all the social media
it is.
I can't imagine what it's like now.
But when you can connect just for a minute, and put something in someone's brain for them to think, And so, you know, we would sit in this little classroom setting in a morning after practice every year before the state meet. And we had a PowerPoint, and we had the names of the people that they were going to compete against. And, you know, I would say, hey, you know, you belong here, and our other coaches, you belong here, you belong here. And all I need is everybody. I know this is going to be weird, but everybody, you're going to run a PR today, a personal record, personal best.
Yeah.
And they look at you like, yeah, all right. No, everybody needs to. And that's the only way we're going to win this thing. And that day, you know, they walk away and they've written down their goals so that it's on paper. And we've told them what they can do. And I know that you think that you always finish behind her, but what if she has a bad day? You're going to move up, and we need you to beat this person. We put it all out there on a map. This is what has to happen. And that day, all 14 of them had a PR. Both teams won state.
Nice.
And they walked away believing in themselves, you know, I mean, and awesome. We were, of course, like, wow, that was, you know, the best day ever. I know. We'll have to try that one again. Wow. But it was, you know, I still get goosebumps thinking about it. And then we're talking about middle school cross country, like it's, you know, the Olympics or something. But when something like that happens, it is. And it changes their life. They're never going to forget that. We are obviously never going to forget that. Yeah. And it's that is the best ever feeling, you know. So that's pretty cool. Yeah,
we went. I played in high school. I played basketball my freshman year, and I didn't go out for it again after that. But my freshman year, we went undefeated. I was like, wow. And I knew I wasn't like gonna really go anywhere. I didn't put in enough work to be the greatest at it. So I was like, I'll just go out on a bang there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah.
And you know, I was in high school, so I got lazy probably. Just worried about other things. But
that's it. As we get a little bit older in high school, we could see that with coaching. You see that other things come along.
Right. Kids get distracted. Well, that's awesome. So that was while you were a stay-at-home mom, and obviously that led into, like you said earlier, getting working there, and then eventually getting into the business.
Right.
Interesting. That's awesome. So I know you said you're not a big long-distance runner.
Oh,
but
I am now. Okay. I did switch over. I did, and I'm very close with my high school coach. We still talk regularly.
What's the longest you've ever done?
I have run a marathon, several marathons.
Okay.
But he said, I couldn't pay you to run a mile in high school, and now you're doing these. I've run several marathons, and
do you do any of the big ones?
Yes.
Like I know what's the one in New York City that's a real big one?
Right. That's the.
Is it just called New York City
Marathon? It is. It's the New York City Marathon. I haven't done that. I've qualified for it. I've never gone. You have to
Oh, there's a qualification.
There is, and several of the big ones there are. Chicago, I've done, I think, 4 times.
Okay.
I've done Boston once. That's the biggest, really. But it's and you need to qualify for that. But actually qualifying for New York is harder than.
So do you have to
Boston.
do other ones and kind of get into
You
the
do.
system and show you've done these at a certain pace or something?
You do. That's exactly right. And some things you have to qualify with a full marathon, and some things you have to qualify with you can qualify with a half marathon.
Okay.
I love a half marathon because I feel like I'm a little better at being fast than long distance. And so you can do that and hurt, and it's half the time,
right.
And the funny thing is even with customers, they'll say, there's no way I could ever do a full marathon. I said, I thought that for years until I was sort of coaxed into, I think everybody should run a marathon in their lifetime. Someone challenged me to that, and then I did it, and then I got hooked. And then I said I'd never do it again after like 7, and then, probably 5 more.
Yeah.
I think I've done 13 or so.
I know my buddy's, a friend of mine, my buddy's wife, she's done several with her dad, and they do them together, which is kind of neat.
If you can do it with someone else and have that camaraderie, and really, that's why a lot of people get into running groups, because you're held accountable. And a couple years ago, I bit off a little more than I could chew. I signed up because some friends talked me into it to a full Ironman. And so then
that's a lot of different things.
It's 3 different disciplines, and you're swimming 2.4 miles, and you're riding your bike a little over 112 miles, and then you run a full marathon, which is 26.2 miles afterwards.
I can't even imagine.
And I couldn't either. And
you did it though?
I did it, and I put in enough training to do it and finish it, and wow. I think it can be done so much better than the way I did it. It really takes a few years to get that biking under your belt, or if not more. And the swim and the run was fine. That bike killed me because it was in Madison, Wisconsin, extremely hilly, and that killed me. And then you've got to run.
I would think the swimming
marathon.
would almost be the hardest part. It wasn't too bad.
I thought it would be, but
swimming's exhausting.
Yeah, it's exhausting, but and the wind, it was bad. It was super choppy. It was supposed to be 2.4 miles. I swam almost 3 because the wind just kept pushing me, and you have to go around certain buoys, and so if you kind of with swimming though, if you get in a groove, you could swim a long time. Okay. You just kind of get into a groove. Whereas, I guess they have it first so that you don't drown.
Yeah, that's a good way to do it, I guess.
A lot of people are scared of the swim, and if you can get over that initial little panic, which I have every time I do something like that, I panicked after about a minute, and then I have to get my breathing, and just once you get into a groove, you can do it.
Do you like? I know I've like watched pieces of Ironmans and stuff. Do you like change then in between, like after the swim?
I did.
Change to.
I did. Yeah. Now, sometimes there are the kits, and it's like an outfit that you can wear that has a built-in, pad for your derriere while you're trying to, be on the bike for that long. But it's for me, I was all about comfort, so I took a full 15 minutes to go in and clean up and change, and you
weren't trying to break any records.
I was not trying to break any records, and
that's definitely
trying
how
to
I
finish.
Would be.
Right?
I'd just be more about finishing and know that I went through the whole thing.
There are people that are phenomenal that do it more than twice as fast as I did, and they don't change their clothes, and they're just
going
out
to
there.
The bathroom.
Right? Exactly. And that's a whole nother story.
I can imagine having to deal with that in the middle of everything.
Right. I think I would have been an hour faster, no doubt, if I hadn't had to stop for so many porta potties. Just you drink so much and you try to stay hydrated, and it's just a.
Hey, but you still did it.
Yeah,
not many people that say they can.
That's true. But yeah, so I do like to try different things, but that was a one and done, and I don't ever have to do that again. But I do like the long distance running, and I find a lot of satisfaction in completing one. And
have you ever heard of David Goggins? I think how you say his last name. Have you ever heard of him?
No.
He's like a motivational guy on social media or whatever, but he's in the military or something, but he did, what was the statistic? He did like, I don't know what it's called, but it's like 100-mile race. He did it like 3 or 4 weekends in a row, back to back. And
wow.
yeah, he does like all this crazy stuff, and he's all about like how it's like mental is like your body can take it. You just got to push yourself. And that was crazy.
That's
it was
true.
like 100 miles.
Yeah.
I don't remember what it was called. It was something like that. But it was. Like,
I have friends that do the ultra marathons.
Ultra marathon. Is that what
yeah.
Is that 100? Is that what
anything? Technically, anything over a marathon is called an ultra marathon.
Okay.
It can be 30 miles and it's an ultra, or it can be 28.
At that point, it's just like ultra 20-mile marathon.
Right. But no, Joe Miller. Do you know Joe Miller in town? He's another crazy runner, and he just ran a 250?
Wow.
Or was it 220? I'm sorry.
Miles?
Yeah,
Wow.
did it, and it took him several. It was a.
What was his name? Joe.
Joe Miller.
Shout
Look
out
into
to
that.
Joe
I know.
Miller.
Shout out to Joe. He's
That's
one of our
impressive.
customers. He'll have to give us the exact time, but it was
Might
phenomenal.
Have to get Joe on
Yeah,
the
no
podcast.
kidding. There's a great picture of him where he's like at the
cool.
sign when he's finished, and he is spent. And I know for me, I was doing something for 15 hours, and you're constantly moving for 15 hours hard.
Yeah.
And
Did he say how long it took him?
It was and that's where I kind of feel like I knew it, but I'm gonna mess it up if I do.
Better to just not.
Yeah, exactly. And we're a couple of days of running and
That's
sleeping
crazy.
2 hours at a time and hungry and eating everything. And he had come into the store and he was getting his nutrition for that. And I said, "You're crazy. You got to come and tell us all about it." But the picture, he is just, when you're done with something like that, I was a bawling, crying mess, after that, just because I'm so happy. And
Can't imagine.
you're so done and spent. And I fell asleep waiting for my pizza to come that night on the bar. That's how bad it was. So it's for people who do these crazy, weird things like that, it's mental.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the only thing that got him through that. And I have other friends
now
and
I feel like I got to
that
do
that.
something to push myself after this conversation.
Exactly.
I feel lazy compared to talking about all this stuff.
Well,
I just my biggest thing is it's so hard for me to make time to even work out. Like I feel so unhealthy just because I haven't even just worked out, let alone like run or do any of that stuff. And, we have 2 kids under 2. We got this business, I'm part owner of 2 or 3 other businesses, and it's just like
it is hard, and it was hard for me. I have 3 sons, and they're all stair-stepped, and they're graduated and college now, but at one time they were 4, 2, and 1. And so getting time to run and train for marathons or anything like that, it is hard.
Yeah.
If you can make it work, there are people that come in and say, "How do you get started? I would just want to start." That's something else that we do too, where we have a coach in our store that will write personal training plans.
Oh, nice.
And he will say, "Okay, you want to run a 5K or you want to run a 10K and starting walking, a walk-run program."
Yeah, give
and
me
if
some
you can
advice
just
on what to do.
start
That's
moving
cool.
for 30 minutes a day. I mean, I tell my mom that too. Just every single day, walk at least 30 minutes. Get to where you're doing it for about 45 minutes to 60 minutes. It's going to help you immensely. Some of the people, the blue zones, have you read about that, where people live to be over 100 years old, but it's not just that they are living to be over 100, they're healthy.
Yeah.
They have their mind, they have their health.
They call that blue zone? Is
That,
I've
well,
never heard that term.
the blue zones are the 5 different areas in the world where there are more people per capita. There are more of a population of those people, and what is similar about all of these people to help them to keep living longer. And it's you've got in Japan, Italy, Greece, California, and maybe Costa Rica. It's the fifth. And yeah, you should check it out. There's several books on it and articles. Yeah. But it's interesting, and some of the common things that they do, it's their eating lifestyle, but you might have, a Mediterranean diet, but then this one might have, it's Asian, it's more rice and fish, and this one's vegetarian or vegan, but they're all working till they're over 100. I mean, they're still working. Yeah. And it's doing something that they love. Right. Number two, they move every single day, and some might be doing like a Tai Chi, which is just very slow movement, but then they're in strength, but walking. They walk an hour, they bicycle, they're moving, they're gardening. Something. They all garden. They're all keeping their mind going. Yeah. And their health.
That's what here, well, just even before now, when I used to work at Ace Sign Company, and that was right out of college, and I was sitting at a desk all day, and I quickly started to feel it in my body that's what I was doing all day. So now if you look around our studio, everybody's got a standing desk that can go up and down. Right. Sometimes I'll have 2 or 3 different mice that I'll just switch up, every couple months. The one I have now has actually been super comfortable, so I haven't switched that in a while. But I did that for a long time, changing monitor. You know what I mean? I always just do these different things and switch things up to try to, because I just realized that helped my body so much. And
what is it they say that sitting is detrimental to your health when you're just sitting at your desk all the time, as smoking and all of these other things that we can do that are bad for us. So sitting at your desk all day, if you get up and walk every hour, you're supposed to do something every hour, even if it's 5 minutes, just move around and change things up.
I try to do a good amount of stretching, even though I'm not flexible at all. You'd think I'd be, but I try to, in the morning, at night, get a stretch in. That always makes me feel good. Yeah. And even during the day, I'll take a quick break and get a little stretch or something. Yeah. But I want to try to. We're trying to find a new building right now, when we do, I want to have space to just put in just a few pieces of gym equipment, so I can kind of optimize my time. Exactly. So when I get in, I can get a little bit of a workout. Maybe if there's a treadmill, a little bit of a run, and then get right to work. You know what I mean? It's just getting up and getting the kids in, getting them to daycare, and getting ready yourself and getting in. It's just like right now, it's an exhausting time. But
we put a gym into the store. And so about a year ago, we added Emily McAfee, and she is in health and wellness. Okay. And she's a personal trainer as well. Nice. And so she has an office there, which is a gym, and we have our treadmill. And so she trains people one-on-one personally there and helps them with nutrition and educating. Oh, that's awesome. And so one of the things that I see her do, and I just posted about it today on social media, she put something in about, so maybe I'm not a long distance runner anymore, but I'm getting my workouts in. And I said, man, me too. I can so relate, because I'll walk in the morning, I walk the dog 2 miles, and then I'm doing a little sprint, and then I go home later and I try to do just my upper body. But she is, of course, we all don't have a gym. If we're lucky to have a gym that is our office, but she can throw in 5 minutes of something here or there, and then go out for a quick little, run or jump on
in between sessions.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll see her lifting a few things, and then she has a session. Yeah. So
and that's kind of in my head. I'm like, if I could just get a little 10-minute break, lift some weights, or get a little jog real quick, or I don't know. Just
how much more healthy would our nation be if we could have something like that? Yeah. And I know that there are corporations out there that really encourage it.
For sure. I know my brother, I don't know if he still does or not. I think he does, but he works for Microsoft out in Seattle. And I think I don't know if they cover part of it or completely pay for. There's basically an incentive to get some sort of workout in or some sort of fitness thing. So you can I think they'll either cover the cost of a gym membership, or you can take it as not a bonus, but like a payment to buy like some sort of active equipment, like a bike or a snowboard or just anything, running shoes, anything that is used to like help keep you active.
Yeah.
They have some sort of incentive.
There are nice incentive plans like that with their health insurance, and it keeps their health insurance down too. So I think they have incentive for that. And then of course, and I've worked with corporations too. I'll go in and talk to them sometimes about things like that and implementing a program like that. And especially like I worked with Hanson at one point in coming up with a walk-run program. And we've also kind of helped promote that with IMB. And
That's awesome.
they would meet a couple times a week and have these running groups. And so then we partner up with them, and they can come in and get discounts on their shoes and their, running apparel and that kind of thing.
Yeah,
so
it helps both sides out.
It does, yeah.
Now, obviously, we do a lot of marketing, social media, content creation here, stuff like that. What are some of the, I know you said you got the online store going. What are some of the ways that you guys are kind of getting out there, and what are you doing for kind of marketing and advertising to help get in front of people and stay relevant and make sure you're staying top of mind?
Well, I'm lucky to have Lindsay that works with me. She is 21 years old almost, and she's kind of keeps me younger with that. But I do the social media myself, and then she helps, and so I do the marketing as far as that. We used to do a lot of different things that I just found were not working.
Yeah.
And now, it's mainly a social media world, and so videos. We're trying to post more often. We're trying to collaborate, but we're playing around with doing some lives. So we're going to do some lives and kind of educate people on some things like with the shoes and so that's what we're doing, and that's all that we're doing. We haven't branched out into any other kind of advertising really right now.
It's funny because it seems like Springfield's always a little bit behind on things, which is fine, where we're at, everything. And that's part of the reason I got this business going, almost 5 years ago when I did, because I just saw where things were going with social media. Right. But I'll still run into people that don't want to invest in doing it, whether it's time or money. They still don't want to, either they don't believe in it or they don't think it's going to do what it should or whatever, and it's just interesting.
Well, I'm not the person. I am the person doing it, and I'm not the person to do it, really, because that's where I think.
I always say something's better than nothing. A lot of times people will be judgy, like, "Oh, you shouldn't do it if it's not a quality piece of content. It's going to hurt your brand." I'm like, guys, something is better than nothing. You got to be out there, and if you don't have the money to pay somebody to do it, and it's not in the budget.
Right.
The next best thing is you doing it yourself if you got the time. You know what I mean?
And that's it's for me, it's time, because where do I need to be? I need to be in the store, and I need to be with my customers and not, as much out. So I'm a big believer in what you do.
That's what I realized quickly, just as a business owner.
Right.
Well, I shouldn't say quickly. It took me a little bit, and it took me to get into a point where we had the budget to be able to, pay people to do things. But I realized that paying people to do what they're good at.
That's right.
And using your time to do what you're good at. Like I handled all my accounting for a long time. I was just miserable doing it. And I'm like, I am spending so much time doing this. I could make more money doing what I'm good at if I just take that time, do that, and pay somebody.
Else. I mean? And when you can figure that out and what you can outsource, that's something very, and I think that's probably, to answer your little hardest part of being a business owner. For me, it's that. It's knowing that I need to be doing this, and can I afford to pay someone else to do that? And I have the mindset that I'm the one who should be selling the business. I'm the one who should be doing this. But also, I think I'm also...
Same with hiring people.
Exactly.
Like, when's it time to, making those decisions.
Exactly. And it's where is your money best spent, and what should I outsource, and what should I do myself? And I would say that is the hardest part for me, is figuring out that kind of stuff. Like, what should I be doing? What should I not be doing here? What should I? And yeah, the whole marketing, social media thing is probably the hardest thing for me.
Yeah, getting around and figuring it all out. Yeah, it's a tough thing. I mean, look, we're doing it every day, and we learn stuff every day. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's constantly changing. Yeah. New platforms are coming up.
Constantly.
Things are changing. Facebook changes this. All of a sudden, you can't do this. Oh, the size is different. That you need to do this, and it's literally. Yeah. I mean, I was on Facebook chat this morning. Because one of our customers' ads account got disabled over something that shouldn't have, and then not only that, but then there was an issue, videos weren't posting, so we got to figure that out, and it's just like there's always something, you know, and that's where one of the things I say and to our customers all the time, or to when I'm talking, to people about our services, I'm like, we manage your social media so you could focus on managing your business, and I truly believe that, because if I didn't have my team helping me, we don't even do as good on our own social media as we do on our customers.
Right, exactly. I know, that's where I go to work in some dirty shoes sometimes, and I think, what am I doing? I'm sitting here with a customer, and my white shoes are gray today. And but I want to make sure you're in the best thing for you. Exactly.
Funny. Yeah. No. Yeah. It's weird. It's definitely different than it used to be.
Well, and things do change. You're right. That's part of my thing. If you are a professional and you can keep up with it, and you know that, just like you were just talking about accounting, and you've got your accounting specialist who knows all these things and these changes that have come up, but I'm still doing the same thing.
It's like, the tax code changes here. You could be saving this much if you did this. And it's like,
something got past me last year, and it cost me a couple $1,000 because, I was unaware, and evidently so were a lot of business owners here that we didn't catch that we were supposed to be doing something else, and it cost you a little bit. Yeah. And those mistakes
add up. And then
right
there, it's like, boom, that would have covered my accountant for the year or whatever.
Right.
One thing we recently did was change to a corporation. Yeah. And it changes our whole tax bracket and all that stuff. And so, it's just little things. It's like you don't know about or don't think about.
And that'll help.
And you learn.
Yeah, you do learn as you go. And won't do that again. And so, and we want to stay in the new, and then just, we've done a lot of changing.
It's good though that you adapted. Some people are afraid to do that. Like I'm saying with the social media, it's like they're afraid to, and especially a business that's been around that long now. That business has passed hands, but a lot of times in like a family business, I think there's a statistic that like most businesses, like 90, like some crazy percentage, like maybe like 80, or I can't remember offhand, % of family businesses that are on like don't make it past like, I think it was like 3 or 4 generations or something like that. And
I could see that it is. We have an original owner. They're still around, and they come in once in a while. One of them comes in, and
who was the original owner?
Tom Immel. And and his partner, and I knew you were going to ask me that because it's one of those things that just went out of my head. Okay. Yeah, but and they come in and they tell me this is how we used to do it, and this is how you should probably do it, and we laugh because absolutely, and I totally respect that, and you're right, I should have done this, and we need to do this, but things have changed so much, you have to evolve, and if you don't. And even just from the last partner to me, and I have a partner in the Chicago area, and he obviously doesn't work with me and is not hands-on, but and we talk about things.
We see stuff happening up there.
Right. Exactly. And so, but we've changed so many things in the past couple of years since the other partner left, and to much better, it's just having that whole, just not being afraid of stepping out there and being afraid, but not, doing it anyway, and seeing what you can do and evolving. And if you don't keep evolving, if you stay, you're going to be stagnant, and then
willing to change, being open-minded, willing to take some risks.
Right.
I know here I've been very careful, conservative, you know what I mean? But partially I was glad I did because all of a sudden this COVID thing hit and I knew we were going to be okay.
Right.
But because I had been conservative, but now we need a new space.
Yep.
You know, we're looking to hopefully hire a couple people because there's a lot of opportunities that we're not capitalizing on.
Right.
Because we just we got to take that next step.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
right.
That's kind of where we're at.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, well, you got anything else that you brought? You want to show us? Let's take a look.
I actually brought you guys a few.
Oh,
I just brought you guys some.
I thought I was going to get to keep this nice $200 no.
Exactly. I know. Who doesn't want the fastest shoe on the planet? But yeah, we brought you guys all some shirts. Perfect. So yeah, and these are some nice soft shirts. I know. I saw you had. I saw you had Miles on the other day.
Yeah.
He actually.
Did he do these ones?
He printed my shirts for me. Yeah.
We were talking about how important it is. This is one of our shirts too.
Yeah.
It's like, it's so important to just spend a little bit more.
It
and get
is.
a good feeling shirt.
It is.
You know?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And these feel good. And we're an apparel company too. So we deal with apparel and team. So he does a lot of our team.
Awesome.
Well, he does all of our team stuff anymore, and we get I get the apparel and the clothing and stuff. We have a lot of high schools and some colleges that deal with us, and we go and he'll print them. But yeah, I'm telling you, and plus our customers love it too, and so
exactly, good advertising too.
Yeah, and
if
somebody
wears it,
we don't deal with little cheap stuff. We get some good stuff, technical stuff, and we want it to feel good, because if it doesn't feel good on me, I'm not going to wear it. So like when we do race shirts and that kind of thing, we don't get that stuff that feels like cardboard when you're running. And so there's a lot of technical stuff in the store with your shoes and your apparel that you got to get the good stuff.
Yeah, definitely. Well, that's awesome. Anything else you'd like to mention or talk about, or let everybody know?
Yeah, I think we hit everything. You know,
Christmas coming up. You got any specials?
Yeah,
anything good?
We do every weekend. So starting tomorrow and Wednesday, we've been doing. We've got 15% off in the store and online, and check it out, because most of our whole product is online now, and it's at Springfield Running Center.
Yeah, I'm excited to go check it out.
Yeah, and it's.
What'd you say it was? Sorry, I interrupted you.
No, SpringfieldRunningsCenter.com.
Perfect.
And we do want people to know that one of the first things when someone comes in, they say, "I'm not a runner, but I'm here."
Yeah.
You know, and we say,
the first step.
You do not have to be a runner to come into our store, because walking shoes, work shoes, everyday kick around shoes.
Send my wife in there, see what's going on.
Exactly. So we are more than a running store.
If you're on your feet, get something quality on you, feel good.
If your feet hurt, then everything else on your and you're grumpy, and everything else on your whole body is, you can't walk right, and you're overcompensating. So you got to keep your feet healthy, and shoes are very important.
That's awesome. Well, thanks so much for coming in today. It was great talking to you and learning about your business. I'm excited. I haven't been over there for a while, so I'm excited. I'm going to come over and check it out.
We'll take care of you. Yeah.
No, that's awesome. Well, thanks a lot for coming in today. SpringfieldRunningCenter.com. And how about on social media?
Same thing. We're Springfield Running Center. A lot of people refer to us as the Running Center. We call ourselves that all the time too, but it's SpringfieldRunningCenter.com. Check out our website, and then we're also, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter.
Awesome.
LinkedIn.
Well, everybody, it's a tough time right now, and it's probably more important than ever to support local. So keep them in mind this holiday season. For anybody that's on their feet, or yourself even, it sounds like they got some awesome stuff going on over there. I'm excited to go over and check it out myself. So
Thank you very much. Thank you for having us.